I met my wife, Rona, when we were in college together. I made the obviously terrible assumption that the fact that she had a post-secondary education meant she had a modicum of common sense. We started dating our senior year, and after job hunting, settled on moving back to her hometown after graduating. We found an apartment and lived together for 2 years before getting married. It's all good so far. At our wedding, I met an old friend of hers, Anna. She offered to read my palm since she was part gypsy. Weird. I'm in construction, and I know a few people from that group, and they call themselves Roma. Whatever. Anna only comes to town every once in a while. She lives in NYC and doesn't have time to visit since she has an exciting life there. She makes costumes for plays and cosplayers, so we see her 4 times over the next 2 years. The last time she came was Labor Day last year, and that's when it got weird. All of a sudden, Rona starts acting oddly. She starts checking in on me at work, coming by when I'm working late, asking to use my phone because hers is almost out of power, that sort of thing. She finally comes out and accuses me of having an affair. I thought she was joking, so I laughed and said I wasn't. This set her off like a Roman candle because Anna told her I would laugh it off when Rona came for the truth. I laughed because it was ridiculous. I barely had time for a relationship with my wife and my job. I'm home all weekend long. And when I go golfing, her brother's almost always either in my foursome or at the club. And most important of all, I love my wife. I wouldn't do anything to harm her. And yet she takes the word of Anna, the psychic seamstress, over mine. She asked me to leave our apartment. I say no because I have nowhere else to go. So she leaves and moves back with her parents, who think she's nuts too. I spend the next few months working and trying to convince her that I'm not cheating and that I want her to come home. I don't get invited to Thanksgiving because it would be awkward. I didn't even stick around for Christmas. I went home to see my family. They've been following all this stupidity without commenting until then. At Christmas, they had an intervention. They said my wife was having a break from reality and wasn't coming out of it. My dad told me to give my head a shake, which he only does when I'm being monumentally stupid. When I got back, I went to a lawyer and started my divorce. That was in January. Finally, at the beginning of April, Rona called me to talk. I say that we should talk through lawyers. She started to cry, and I agreed to meet her in public if she would allow me to record our conversation so I could give a copy to my lawyer. She eventually agreed. Turns out she and her parents hired a private detective to find my affair. 6 months and a huge bill later, zero evidence of an affair. She finally believes me and wants to come home. I told her that our lease was up in July, and I already found a job in Denver, near my family. She said she would come with me. I respectfully declined. I told her that we just weren't right for each other. The truth is that I don't want to have my offspring share DNA with this dingbat. Anyway, I'm moving ahead with my divorce. I'm gutted that she took her friend's psychic vibrations over mine. Her family's approached me several times. The last time her dad offered to front us a 25% down payment on a house if I agreed to go to marriage counseling instead of just leaving. I politely declined. I cannot be bought. Rona's now depressed, but I see no way of ever trusting her again. She's young enough she can marry again and wreck some other guy's life. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Once she took the word of a psychic over you, it was over. And the fact that she then convinced her parents to hire a private investigator to get info on your infidelities is just the icing on the top. And only the private investigator coming up empty brought about the realization that you were telling the truth. What else will she blindly believe when her psychic friend has another vision? Run, don't walk. I would imagine the parents hired the private investigator as a way to get her to come to her senses. Darn it, girl, if we investigate him, will you please touch grass? Even her own parents want her out of their lives. Her dad spent a bunch of money on a private investigator, not to help his daughter, but to get her out of his home and to get that crazy out of his life. And now he's willing to give you money to take her back? Really think about that. It'll help you sleep at night if you ever second guess your decision to run. I once worked with an older male colleague. He was 50-ish. I was 28 and recently married. This man would hustle out of work at precisely 4 p.m. every day and would not stay a second later, no matter the circumstances. Turns out that his wife had been accusing him of affairs his whole marriage, and if he was 5 minutes late getting home, she would absolutely blow, making life a nightmare, more nightmarish, for him for weeks afterward. I learned that this behavior in his wife started innocently in the early years of their marriage, and it ramped up to level 10 crazy over the years. By that time, they had kids and a mortgage, and it was impossible for him financially to leave. OP, she gave you a gift. Take it. I, 28 male, have a kindergarten-age daughter, Lily, with my ex-girlfriend, Sarah, 27. At least I thought she was my daughter. Sarah and I dated for a few years, and I was over the moon when she got pregnant. I was excited to be a dad and took on the role wholeheartedly. From the moment Lily was born, I noticed she didn't really look like me, but I brushed it off. Babies change a lot. As she grew older, though, the differences became more pronounced. She had none of my features, none at all. It started to nag at me, but I pushed those thoughts aside, feeling guilty for even questioning it. A few months ago, I finally gave in to the doubt gnawing at me. I ordered a paternity test without telling Sarah. When the results came back, my heart sank. I wasn't Lily's biological father. I felt like my world had been turned upside down. I confronted Sarah, and after a lot of tears and arguing, she admitted that she had cheated on me around the time Lily was conceived. I was devastated. The little girl I'd raised and loved wasn't mine. I felt like my entire relationship with Sarah was a lie. I couldn't even look at Lily the same way, knowing that her biological father was out there somewhere. I decided to leave. I packed my things and moved out, leaving Sarah and Lily behind. Since then, Sarah, her friends, and even some of my family have been calling me an idiot for abandoning Lily. They say that biology doesn't matter, that I raised her, and she sees me as her father. They accuse me of being heartless and cruel for walking away from a little girl who loves me. I get messages and calls almost daily, calling me out for my decision. It's been tough. I feel guilty because Lily doesn't understand why I'm no longer around, but simultaneously, I can't shake the feeling of betrayal and the constant reminder that she isn't mine. I don't know how to be there for her without feeling like a fraud. I didn't sign up to raise another man's child, especially without my knowledge. So, am I the idiot for leaving? Should I have stayed in Lily's life despite everything? Or was I right to walk away? Not the idiot. All those people calling you should be calling Sarah instead. And how could she not know it's the other guy, if she knows his name, or if she slept with multiple people at the time? Guessing you're on the birth certificate, don't do anything that'll put you at risk legally or financially. I like how no one asks you in your inner circle if you're okay. That had to be emotionally hurtful and damaging to find out. Plus, all the years of deceit. They focus on guilting you about the little girl. I get their point. Yes, kids don't understand at this age, but you still need some time to adjust to this shocking news. It's okay to take a step back and figure out what you want to do. Yes, you can still be there for the little girl if you want to, but right now you just need to get your emotional footing on all of this. Exactly. Gotta love how everyone is flaming OP and glossing over the fact that this is only happening because she was cheating and sleeping around. He shouldn't have to stay to raise her affair baby and not face the consequences of her own actions. Some people are wild. My husband, 30, and I, 28 female, have been married for just under 3 months and have had a huge argument about my engagement ring. We got married 1 month into him proposing to me. It wasn't a fancy wedding, and we had our honeymoon right after we had signed the papers at the courthouse. He gave me a diamond engagement ring close to $8,000, a 2-carat lab diamond. He didn't have funds available readily as we were saving for a home, so we put this ring on a payment plan. After we married and merged our finances, I discovered he had been withdrawing funds from our joint account. We make roughly the same to finance this ring. I was taken aback and honestly put off by the fact that he was making me pay for a gift that he gave to me. We've been having some arguments lately. He feels that the ring is a wedding expense and it's only fair that I contribute towards it. He also feels that as a woman of this day, I shouldn't hesitate to be an equal partner. I called BS and shared my thoughts on this whole thing. First, you don't make the recipient of a gift pay for the darn gift. An engagement ring is considered a gift in modern societies, even today. And I don't care if you disagree with that. It's just the cultural expectations, and we never discussed if he had any issues with that. If he was an adult enough, I would have discussed how it makes him feel and see if his values about tradition align with mine. Second, I've unintentionally partially paid for 2 installments now, which makes me a part owner of the ring. If I knew my husband would be making me pay for the ring, I wouldn't have agreed to buy it. Mutual consent is essential when a couple decides to invest in an asset. Owning a house or a car jointly requires 2 yeses, and I certainly wouldn't have said yes to jointly owning a ring he was supposed to give me as a gift. So I can retroactively decide now that I never wanted to own it and have been demanding that my husband return the ring to the store if paying for the ring hurts his pocket so much. I'm clarifying because I anticipate a lot of people might wonder. I've always wanted a nice ring, and I'm not going to apologize about it since we never had a real wedding party. I knew I deserved a quality piece, symbolizing our love. However, my then fiancé also knew about my expectations and was upfront about things from the get-go. He could have discussed things with me, as I mentioned earlier in my post, and we could have seen if we were truly compatible. I didn't know that he was plotting to get even with me by taking out a payment plan and using our funds to finance it. This caused him to flare up, and he criticized me for being misogynistic towards him. I put my foot down because I cannot afford it, or I refuse to financially contribute or give my husband a nice gift because my husband's sheer stubbornness and tackiness about wanting me to pay is what makes me angry. I don't mind splurging for him, but this whole situation has left a very bad taste in my mouth. He expects me to apologize to him because I called his actions tacky and decisions scammy and in bad faith. Am I the idiot? It sounds like you and your husband don't even like each other. Why on earth did you get married? Why did he need to, in your words, get even with you? Did you force him to buy a ring he couldn't afford? Something is definitely missing here. Also, who pays $8,000 for a 2-carat lab diamond ring? I'd be surprised if the store would let him return a ring that's been worn for 2 months. And if you sell it outright, you won't get anywhere near $8,000 for it. Yeah, what did he do with the rest of the money? Because I don't think it costs $8,000. I would be getting it valued and working out options. Secondly, if you, and I mean you as a couple, can't afford it, why is he spending $8,000 on a ring? That's an absurd amount of money for a ring. I demand to see a receipt at the very least. Saving for a home? Put a ring on a payment plan. What is wrong with people? Just get a nice ring for $300 to $500. If rich people can spend thousands on a ring, yay for them. But going into debt for a ring? Just wow. I'm going with everyone's the idiot here. But she deserves a nice ring as a token of their eternal love. I don't understand how people think a rock is magically a measuring stick for how much someone loves you. It just all sounds like magical thinking to me. You two are in for a world of hurt. It sounds to me like you're going to keep a running list of who does more, who does less, who owes who. My dad had a child before he and my mom met, my half-sister, 33. Her mom walked out when she was young, I'm not sure of her age, and left her for her dad to raise her. They weren't together. He met my mom not long after, and my mom was slowly introduced to her. They got married when my half-sister was a tween, and I, 22 female, was born a year later. I don't remember much of my half-sister living with us. I know she treated my mom like crap. She would yell at mom for everything and anything, got mad at her for doing her laundry, got mad at her for not doing her laundry, got mad at her for looking at her, got mad at her for making lunch, then for not making it or making the wrong lunch. She'd get mad at mom if the school called my mom over something, like she was sick. She got mad if mom had to take her to the doctor instead of dad. She got mad at mom whenever someone implied mom was her mom, even if mom wasn't there. I remember my half-sister telling mom she hated her. My mom always loved my half-sister. She always thought of her as her first kid, and she felt a duty to her despite everything. She was as loving to my half-sister as she was to me, and she never allowed anyone to say my half-sister wasn't family. Some of my mom's family really disliked my half-sister as an adult, and it caused some fights. Mom would defend my half-sister, even when said half-sister wished my mom dead. Part of me didn't love it because I felt like my mom was wasting her time on someone who didn't deserve it, especially when my half-sister had many years of therapy and my mom was always there and supporting her and would speak up for my half-sister when required. Yet mom allowed some adult woman to treat her like crap. My mom died a few months ago, and she left my half-sister a locket that's a family heirloom for us and has passed down 3, now 4 generations. It was always meant to go to the oldest daughter's oldest daughter, and my mom left it to my half-sister. It broke my heart because my half-sister always denied mom was anything to her. Apparently, she regrets it now, especially after the locket, and she was trying to start a relationship with me after we had no relationship my whole life. I have no wish for that to happen. I told her that. She started her own personal pity party and talked about the regret she now has to live with and how the locket now means so much to her. I told her she never deserved my mom or the locket, and she won't ever change my mind. I told her I hope she would feel that guilt whenever she saw it. I told her I hope that locket haunts her because it's tainted being hers now. She started crying, and when my dad heard what happened, he got so mad at me and told me that I was wrong to say those things and that my half-sister deserved compassion. I told her I was tired of her getting compassion and I wasn't going to show her any because she had regrets after all these years of being crappy. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I'm so sorry for your loss. Your father's oldest daughter is still horrible. Your father's still making excuses and enabling her. I tell both that the only way to make this right for you is to return the locket to you. Once you have it, cut all contact with both. I cannot even imagine the pain your mother endured due to this situation for years. Neither of them deserved your mother. Right? If she truly felt remorse for her actions, she would know that the locket really belonged to OP. By keeping it, she's literally proving she doesn't deserve it. And Dad should know that too. Wow, it took someone dying for the adult to self-reflect. She's a grown woman who's responsible for her own actions. Let her be upset. Maybe it'll make her a good person finally.